The cockpit went silent at 30,000 feet. Both pilots unconscious. Passengers screaming. Then a 14-year-old girl's voice crackled over military radios, "Call sign Phoenix." Army helicopters froze. That pilot died 3 years ago. But her daughter just took the controls, trained by a ghost. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching, also like and subscribe for more stories. Nobody noticed the small girl in seat 12C. She looked like any other kid traveling alone. 14 years old, wearing a faded purple hoodie and old sneakers. Her black hair was tied back in a simple ponytail. She had earbuds in her ears and her eyes were closed. To anyone watching, she was just sleeping or listening to music. But Emma Rodriguez wasn't sleeping. And she wasn't listening to music. Through her earbuds, a woman's calm voice was speaking. Emergency Procedure 17. Both pilots unconscious at high altitude. What is your first action, Emma? Emma's lips moved silently. Oxygen mask. Check aircraft control. Begin emergency descent. Good. And your descent rate? 3,000 feet per minute until reaching 10,000 feet. Perfect, baby. Always perfect. The woman's voice belonged to Captain Lisa Rodriguez. Emma's mother. A helicopter pilot who had been declared dead 3 years ago. But Lisa wasn't dead. She was very much alive. And for 3 years, she had been training her daughter for exactly this kind of emergency. Emma opened her eyes and looked around the cabin of Flight 447. It was a normal Tuesday afternoon flight from Denver to Seattle. Business travelers typed on laptops. Families with small children tried to keep them entertained. Flight attendants pushed drink carts down the aisle. Everything was calm and routine. Emma checked her watch. Her mother would be waiting online in 6 hours for their regular training session. They used encrypted chat rooms and secure video calls. Nobody knew about these sessions. Not Emma's grandmother who she lived with. Not her friends at school. Nobody. Because if anyone found out that Lisa Rodriguez was alive, she would be in terrible danger. 3 years ago, Lisa had been flying a medical evacuation mission in a combat zone. Her helicopter was shot down. The official report said she died in the crash. There was a funeral. A folded flag. A wall with her name on it. But Lisa had survived. She crawled from the wreckage with broken ribs and a shattered leg. Local villagers found her and hid her. They smuggled her out of the country over several months. When Lisa finally made it back to the United States, she faced an impossible choice. She had discovered something during her deployment. Evidence of corruption. Proof that someone in the military was selling secrets to enemies. Secrets that got soldiers killed. The helicopter crash wasn't an accident. It was an assassination attempt. If Lisa revealed herself as alive, the people who tried to kill her would try again. And they wouldn't just come after her. They would target everyone she loved. Including her 11-year-old daughter. So Lisa made the hardest decision of her life. She stayed dead. For 3 years, she lived off the grid. Never staying in one place too long. Using fake names. Working cash jobs. Always hiding. Always careful. But she couldn't completely abandon Emma. So she found ways to stay in contact. Burner phones bought with cash and used only once. Encrypted emails sent from public libraries. Messages hidden in online games where they pretended to be strangers. And most importantly, Lisa trained Emma to survive. She taught her situational awareness. Self-defense. How to spot danger. How to disappear if necessary. And she taught her to fly. It started with a laptop that arrived at Emma's grandmother's house 6 months after the funeral. Inside was flight simulator software and audio files. Hundreds of audio files of Lisa's voice teaching flight basics. Emma, this is Lesson 1. How airplanes fly. Lesson 15. How to read instruments. Lesson 40. What to do when engines fail. 3 times every week, Emma logged into a private server. Lisa would be there, watching Emma's simulator screen through a remote connection. Coaching her through emergency scenarios. Good, Emma. Now reduce your airspeed. Extend your flaps. You're coming in too fast. Small adjustment. Emergency at 35,000 feet. Rapid decompression. What's your first move? Oxygen mask, Mom. Good. Then what? Check aircraft control. Start emergency descent. Perfect. Show me. By age 12, Emma had logged 500 simulator hours. By 13, 800. Now at 14, she had 1,000 hours of flight training. All virtual. All secret. All taught by a mother who existed only as a voice through encrypted channels. Lisa's instructions were always clear. This isn't to make you a pilot, Emma. You're too young for that. This is to keep you alive. If you're ever on a plane in an emergency, if you're ever in danger, you'll have the skills to save yourself. Because I can't be there to protect you. Emma understood. Her mother was alive but had to stay hidden. The training was their connection. The only way they could still be mother and daughter. Every session ended the same way. I love you, Emma. I love you too, Mom. Stay safe. You too. Always. For 3 years, Emma practiced scenarios she hoped would never be real. Engine failures. System breakdowns. Pilot unconsciousness. Emergency landings. Until today. The explosion happened without warning. 1 second, Flight 447 was cruising smoothly at 35,000 feet. The next second, a massive bang shook the entire airplane. Somewhere in the front of the aircraft, a large piece of the structure had broken. Metal fatigue. Undetected damage. Wrong maintenance. It didn't matter why. What mattered was that a huge hole had opened in the airplane's hull. Air rushed out with violent force. The sound was deafening. Like standing inside a tornado. The pressure inside dropped instantly. From normal breathing air to the thin, oxygen-poor air of high altitude in just seconds. Yellow oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling. They swung wildly in the rushing wind. People screamed. Some grabbed for masks. Some sat frozen in shock. Children cried. Adults shouted. Emma's response was instant. Her hand shot up and grabbed her oxygen mask. She pulled it over her face. The elastic band went around her head. She took deep, steady breaths. Her training had taken over completely. While others panicked, Emma's mind was analyzing the situation. Explosive decompression. That meant sudden, violent structural failure. The cabin pressure dropped too fast. If it was this bad in the passenger area, the cockpit probably got hit worse. Pilots are trained to get oxygen masks on within seconds. But if the cockpit decompression was violent, if things were flying around, they might not have made it in time. At 35,000 feet without oxygen, a person has about 15 to 30 seconds before they pass out. Emma looked around. Most passengers now had masks on. Flight attendants were helping people who were struggling. But something was wrong. The airplane lurched. The nose dropped slightly. The wings weren't level. Someone should be flying the plane. The pilots should be making adjustments. Beginning an emergency descent to lower altitude where people could breathe without masks. But the airplane felt like it was flying on autopilot with nobody watching. 30 seconds passed. No announcement from the captain. 45 seconds. Still nothing. Emma unbuckled her seatbelt and stood up. She kept her oxygen mask on. A flight attendant was moving toward the cockpit. Emma followed her. "Get back to your seat," the attendant shouted through her mask. "You're a child. This isn't safe." "I can help," Emma said. Her voice was calm and steady. The flight attendant reached the cockpit door and punched in the emergency code. The door swung open. She looked inside and gasped. Emma pushed past her. The cockpit was a nightmare. Both pilots were slumped forward in their seats, held by their shoulder harnesses. Their oxygen masks hung uselessly. They hadn't gotten them on in time. They were unconscious. Still breathing, but completely unresponsive. The airplane was flying entirely on autopilot. "What are you doing?" the attendant screamed. "Get out of there." "I'm saving this airplane," Emma said quietly. She moved to the co-pilot's seat and sat down. The seat was too big for her small frame. She quickly adjusted it. Brought it forward. Raised the height. Moved the rudder pedals closer. Her hands found the controls like they had done this 1,000 times. Because in simulators, she had. Her eyes scanned the instruments. Altitude, 32,000 feet and descending slowly. Airspeed, 280 knots and decreasing. Autopilot engaged but struggling. Navigation display showed the flight path to Seattle, still 400 miles ahead. Engines running normally. No fire warnings. Fuel adequate. Everything she needed to know in 5 seconds. She reached for the radio and selected the emergency frequency. 121.5 MHz. The universal emergency channel that every controller monitors. She pressed the transmit button. "Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This is Flight 447. We have catastrophic decompression at 35,000 feet. Both pilots are unconscious. I am a passenger taking control of the aircraft." The response was immediate. "Flight 447, this is Seattle Center. Confirm your emergency. Who is operating the aircraft?" Emma's heart was pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. But her voice stayed steady. "Seattle Center, Flight 447. My name is Emma Rodriguez. I am 14 years old. I have 1,000 hours of flight simulator training. I can fly this aircraft, but I need immediate help." Silence on the radio. Shocked, stunned silence. Then the controller's voice came back. Professional but clearly shocked. "Flight 447, did you say you are 14 years old?" "Affirmative. I am 14 and I need help before this aircraft crashes into a mountain." Before Seattle Center could respond, a different voice broke in. Male. Military bearing. "Flight 447, this is Hawk Lead. United States Army helicopter flight in your area. Confirm you said your name is Emma Rodriguez. Spell the last name." Emma frowned. Why would military helicopters care about her name? Hawk Lead, affirmative. Emma Rodriguez. RODGUEZ. A long pause. Background voices in the helicopter. People talking urgently. Then the military pilot's voice came back. And it carried unmistakable shock. "Emma Rodriguez. This is Chief Warrant Officer Mike Santos flying Hawk Lead. I served with your mother. I flew missions with Captain Lisa Rodriguez. Call sign Phoenix. Did she train you to fly?" Emma's hands trembled on the controls. These people knew her mother. They flew with her. They thought she was dead. "Affirmative," Emma said quietly. "Phoenix trained me." "How is that possible?" "Captain Rodriguez was killed 3 years ago. I was at her funeral." Emma made a decision in that moment. Her mother had stayed hidden for 3 years to protect her. Had sacrificed seeing her daughter to keep Emma safe. But right now, 238 people on this airplane needed the truth. And Emma needed her mother's voice more than she'd ever needed it before. "Hawk lead," Emma said, her voice carrying across the emergency frequency. "My mother didn't die 3 years ago. She survived. She's been alive this whole time, hiding. And she's been training me for 3 years through encrypted communications. I need someone to contact encrypted channel Delta 9 Charlie immediately. Tell Phoenix her daughter needs her right now." More shocked silence. Then Santos, "Emma, that channel doesn't exist in any military database. It exists in NSA monitoring files," Emma interrupted. "The National Security Agency has been tracking it for 2 years trying to figure out who's using it. Tell them to check their files and patch it through. My mother will answer. She always answers when I need her." At NSA headquarters in Maryland, the operations floor erupted. For 2 years, they've been tracking encrypted channel Delta 9 Charlie. Unknown users. Sophisticated encryption they couldn't break. They'd flagged it as possible foreign intelligence. Now a 14-year-old flying a crippled airplane was telling them to patch it through because her supposedly dead mother would answer. "Get me Seattle Center," the NSA watch commander barked. "Confirm this is real." "Sir, confirmed." Flight 447. Boeing 767. Catastrophic decompression. Both pilots down. Minor child at controls. The watch commander made a decision. Patch Delta 9 Charlie through to the aviation emergency frequency. If Captain Rodriguez is alive, we need to know immediately. NSA technicians worked fast. They located the encrypted channel. Established a link. Static. White noise. Then a woman's voice. Clear. Calm. Carrying absolute authority. "This is Phoenix. Identify yourself and state why you're contacting this channel." Voice recognition software compared it to archived recordings. Match confirmed. Captain Lisa Rodriguez. Declared killed in action 3 years ago. Alive. Chief Warrant Officer Santos transmitted. "Phoenix, this is Mike Santos. Hawk Flight. Your daughter Emma is flying Flight 447. Both pilots unconscious from decompression. 238 souls on board. She needs you. Right now." A pause. Then Lisa's voice, and for the first time there was raw emotion in it. "Emma, baby, I'm here. I've got you. Talk to me. What's your status?" Emma's voice cracked. "Mom. Oh God, Mom. Both pilots unconscious. I have control. Altitude 31,000 feet. Autopilot engaged but fighting damaged aerodynamics. Okay, sweetheart. Listen. You've trained for this exact scenario. Remember Simulation 23? Pilot incapacitation at high altitude? Yes, I remember. Good. Then you know exactly what to do. First, check your oxygen. Are you getting good airflow? Yes, Mom. Oxygen is good. Perfect. Now I need you to disengage the autopilot. I know that sounds scary, but you need full manual control. The autopilot doesn't understand the damaged aerodynamics. You do. Disengage it now." Emma's hand moved to the autopilot button. She hesitated for 1 second. This was it. Disconnecting meant she would be flying manually. A real airplane with real lives depending on her. She pressed the button. The autopilot disengaged with a soft chime. The controls came alive in her hands. The aircraft lurched. Emma made immediate corrections. Small movements. Gentle pressure. The aircraft stabilized. "I've got it," she said. Manual control. Aircraft stable. Beautiful, baby. Perfect. Now, Emma, listen carefully. You're going to hear a lot of voices on this frequency. Controllers, military pilots, everyone wanting to help. But I need you to focus only on my voice. Block out everything else. I'm going to get you through this exactly like we practiced. One step at a time. Okay? Okay, Mom. I love you so much, Emma. You're the bravest person I know. And you can absolutely do this. For the next 40 minutes, the world watched an impossible situation unfold. A 14-year-old girl manually flying a Boeing 767. Guided by her mother, a pilot declared dead 3 years ago. Lisa talked Emma through every procedure with calm precision. Start your emergency descent. We need to get to 10,000 feet where everyone can breathe without masks. Reduce power to idle. Extend speed brakes. Lower the nose to establish 3,000 feet per minute descent. Engines to idle. Speed brakes out. Descent established. Good. Watch your airspeed. Don't let it go above 320 knots. Airspeed 290. Staying below 320. Perfect. You're doing perfect. The Army helicopters flew alongside. The pilots could see into the cockpit. They saw both pilots slumped unconscious. They saw a small girl in the co-pilot's seat, hands on controls, flying with smooth, professional movements. We have visual, Santos transmitted. Confirm a minor is flying the aircraft. She appears calm and in complete control. This is incredible. News channels picked up the story within minutes. 14-year-old flying commercial jet after pilot's collapse. Girl trained by dead mother saves hundreds. Mother declared killed in action 3 years ago, alive and guiding daughter. Military intelligence scrambled to understand. Phoenix is alive. Where has she been? Why did she hide? Who tried to kill her? But none of that mattered to Lisa. Her entire world was getting her daughter safely on the ground. At 25,000 feet, how's your fuel, baby? Fuel shows 11,000 pounds. Good. More than enough. How are the passengers? Flight attendants are helping people. Most have masks off now. Some crying but no panic. You're keeping them alive, Emma. Every single one. At 15,000 feet, Seattle Center came on. Flight 447, we're clearing all traffic. You have priority handling. Seattle Airport is standing by with emergency services. Copy, Seattle Center, Emma responded. At 10,000 feet, the Rocky Mountains were visible below. Snow-covered peaks. Dense forests. Lisa must have sensed Emma's fear. Talk to me, baby. What are you feeling? Scared. Really scared. That's okay. Fear is normal. Every pilot feels fear. The difference is what you do with it. You acknowledge it, then put it aside and fly the airplane. Can you do that? Yes. I know you can. Because I've watched you do it 100 times in training. At 8,000 feet, Seattle Center gave headings. Flight 447, turn left heading 270. Descend and maintain 6,000. Left 270, descending to 6,000, Emma acknowledged. Lisa coached each turn. Smooth on the controls. Don't rush. Let the aircraft settle. At 6,000 feet, the approach began. Okay, Emma. Pre-landing checklist. We'll go through this together. Ready? Ready. Flaps. Extend to position 1. Emma moved the flap lever. The aircraft slowed as wing flaps deployed. Flaps 1. Speed reducing to 200 knots. Good. Now reduce power. We want 180 for approach. Reducing to 180. Perfect. Landing gear down. Emma pulled the gear lever. A rumbling sound. The wheels extended. 3 green lights appeared. Gear down. 3 green lights. Beautiful, baby. You're doing everything exactly right. Seattle Airport appeared ahead. Emma could see the runways. Emergency vehicles lined both sides. Fire trucks. Ambulances. All with lights flashing. News helicopters circled. Cameras broadcasting live to the world. At 4,000 feet, flaps to position 2. Flaps 2. Speed 160. At 3,000 feet, flaps full. Flaps full. Speed 140. That's your landing speed. Hold 140 all the way down. Small power adjustments to maintain it. 140. Holding. At 2,000 feet, Emma could see people on the ground. News crews. Airport workers. All watching. Her hands were shaking. But her flying remained smooth. At 1,000 feet, Lisa said, "You're lined up perfectly. Altitude, airspeed, descent rate, everything is perfect. Now, Emma, at 50 feet you'll start the flare. That means pulling back gently to raise the nose. The main wheels touch first, then the nose wheel. Once you're down, deploy thrust reversers and apply brakes. What if I mess up? You won't. But even if something goes wrong, we'll handle it together. Like we always do." At 500 feet, every eye was watching. At 300 feet, Lisa said softly, "You've got this, baby. I'm so proud of you." At 200 feet, Emma could see the runway numbers clearly. At 100 feet, individual seams in the concrete. At 75 feet, almost there. Get ready to flare. At 50 feet, Emma pulled back gently. The nose rose. The descent slowed. The aircraft floated above the runway. At 20 feet, still floating. At 10 feet, Emma felt it settle. The main wheels touched. Firm but controlled. A perfect landing. Emma immediately pulled the thrust reverser levers. The engines roared. The aircraft shook with deceleration. She pressed the brake pedals. The massive airliner slowed. 80 knots. 60. 40. 20. The aircraft rolled to a complete stop. Absolute silence. Then Lisa's voice, breaking with emotion for the first time. "You're down, baby. You did it. Everyone's safe. All 238 people. You saved them all." Emma sat shaking. Relief. Exhaustion. Adrenaline draining away. "We're down, Mom," she whispered. "Everyone's safe. I love you so much, Emma. You're a hero. My hero. I love you too, Mom. When can I see you?" "Soon, baby. Very soon. But first, get everyone off safely." Behind Emma, passengers were crying. Hugging strangers. Praying. Laughing with relief. The flight attendant leaned into the cockpit, tears streaming. "You saved us. You saved all of us. Thank you. Thank you so much." Emergency vehicles surrounded the aircraft. Paramedics rushed aboard for the unconscious pilots. Fire crews checked for damage. FBI agents. FAA investigators. Military personnel. Everyone wanted to talk to Emma. Emma stood from the pilot's seat on shaky legs. Her purple hoodie was soaked with sweat. Passengers evacuated down emergency stairs. Some stopped to hug Emma. Some just stared in disbelief. A 14-year-old girl had saved them all. Emma stood at the top of the stairs looking out at the chaos. News helicopters overhead. News crews with cameras. Security trying to maintain order. And somewhere in that crowd, her mother. Emma descended slowly. Her legs felt like rubber. At the bottom, an FBI agent approached. Emma Rodriguez, I'm Special Agent Morrison. We need to. Where's my mother? Emma interrupted. Your mother is. There are procedures. Where is she? A voice called out. Emma. Emma's head snapped up. There, pushing through the crowd, was a woman. Civilian clothes. Jeans and a jacket. Dark hair longer than Emma remembered. But the same eyes. The same face. Her mother. Lisa Rodriguez. Phoenix. Alive. Emma ran. Lisa ran. They met in the middle, crashing together, arms wrapped tight, both crying. You're really here, Emma sobbed. You're really alive. I'm here, baby. I'm so sorry I had to hide. But you're safe now. We're both safe. They stood holding each other while the world watched. Cameras broadcasting the moment globally. A mother and daughter reunited after 3 years. Military police approached. Captain Rodriguez, you're wanted for questioning. Lisa held up one hand, still holding Emma with the other. I'll answer every question. I'll explain everything. But first, please. 5 minutes with my daughter. 5 minutes I've waited 3 years for. The officer looked at them. A mother holding her daughter. Both crying. Both finally together. He nodded. 5 minutes. Lisa pulled Emma closer. You were incredible. The best pilot I've ever seen. Better than me. I was so scared. I know. But you pushed through it. That's what makes a great pilot. Not absence of fear, but functioning despite it. Are you in trouble? For hiding? For faking your death? I don't know. Maybe. But it doesn't matter. I did what I had to do to protect you. And now it's time to stop hiding. Time to expose the people who tried to kill me. Time to get justice. What happens now? Now I tell them everything. Who tried to kill me? Why I hid. How I trained you. All of it. There will be investigations. Trials. Media attention. It'll be hard. But we'll face it together. Actually together. Emma hugged tighter. I missed you so much. I missed you too, baby. Every single day. But I never really left. I was always there. Just hidden. The 5 minutes ended. Captain Rodriguez, we need to begin now. Lisa nodded. She looked at Emma. They'll question me for hours, maybe days. Will you be okay? Grandma's here. I'll stay with her. Good. I love you, Emma. I love you too, Mom. They held each other one more time. Then Lisa released her daughter and turned to the investigators. I'm ready. Let's talk. 3 months later, Emma sat in a small Cessna trainer aircraft. Real cockpit. Real controls. Real sky. Lisa sat beside her, wearing aviator sunglasses, hands near the controls but not touching them. You're cleared for takeoff, Lisa said with a smile. Emma pushed the throttle forward. The small aircraft accelerated down the runway. At 60 knots, she pulled back. The nose lifted. The wheels left the ground. They were flying. For the first time, Emma was flying a real aircraft with her mother actually beside her. Not remotely. Not through screens. Actually together in the same cockpit. How does it feel? Lisa asked. Different, Emma said, banking gently. Better. More real. You're a natural. They climbed to 3,000 feet. Emma leveled off. The Pacific Northwest spread below them. Mountains. Forests, water sparkling in afternoon sun. Mom, can I ask something? Anything. Those 3 years when you were hiding, were you lonely? Lisa was quiet for a moment. Every single day. I missed you so much it physically hurt. I missed Grandma. My friends. My fellow pilots. Normal life. But I never regretted it. Because keeping you safe was more important than my loneliness. And training you kept me connected. Every simulator session was time together. Every lesson was love. I wasn't angry at you. I know some people thought I should be. But I understood why you did it. You were 11 years old and you understood things most adults never grasp. You're remarkable, Emma. They flew in comfortable silence, enjoying the view and the feeling of flight. Then Lisa said, the FAA created a special provision for you. Since you proved you can handle aircraft in emergencies, they're allowing you to begin formal training at 14 instead of 16. When you turn 16, you can get your pilot's license. Will you be my instructor for all of it? Every single lesson. I'm assigned to the training squadron now. No more combat deployments. No more dangerous missions. I teach during the day and come home to you every evening. Normal life. Finally. What about the people who tried to kill you? All arrested. All convicted. Long prison sentences. They won't hurt anyone again. Are we really safe now? We're really safe. Actually safe. Emma executed a smooth turn. Lisa watched with pride. You know, the airlines have been calling. United, Delta, Southwest. They all want you to know you have a job waiting when you're old enough. Really? Really? What you did was extraordinary. You're famous in the aviation world. The girl who saved Flight 447. I don't feel famous. I feel like I just did what you taught me. That's exactly what makes you special. You don't see yourself as a hero. You see yourself as someone who was prepared and did what was needed. That's the mark of a true professional. They practiced maneuvers for another hour. Turns. Climbs. Descents. All the basics Emma had done thousands of times in simulators but were different in a real aircraft. As the sun began to set, they headed back. Emma flew the pattern perfectly. Her landing was smooth, barely a bump. After they parked and shut down, they sat quietly for a moment. Thank you, Mom, Emma said. For what? For everything. For staying alive. For training me. For loving me enough to sacrifice 3 years. For being there when I needed you, even though you couldn't really be there. For teaching me to rise. Lisa reached over and held her daughter's hand. You're my whole world, Emma. Everything I did for you. And I'd do it all again. They climbed out and walked across the tarmac together. Emma looked up at her mother. The legendary pilot. The woman who survived being shot down. Who lived in hiding for 3 years. Who exposed corruption. Who guided her daughter through an impossible crisis from 1,000 miles away. And Lisa looked down at her daughter. The girl who saved 238 lives at 14. Who kept impossible secrets. Who trained relentlessly for 3 years preparing for a crisis she hoped would never come. Phoenix. Both of them. On the terminal wall hung a newspaper article about the emergency landing. The headline read, "Call sign Phoenix lives through daughter's courage." But it wasn't quite right. Phoenix hadn't just lived through her daughter. Phoenix had become 2 people. Mother and daughter. Pilot and student. Separated by circumstances but connected by love and training and an unbreakable bond. They walked to Lisa's car. As they drove home, Lisa said, "You know what I'm most proud of?" "What?" "Not that you landed the plane. Not that you saved all those people. I'm most proud that you never gave up. Not on that flight. Not during the 3 years when we could only talk through encrypted channels. You never gave up on me, on yourself, on us. You taught me that. You never gave up either. You survived a crash. Survived being hunted. Survived 3 years alone. You kept training me when it would have been easier to just disappear. You showed me what never giving up actually means. They drove home in comfortable silence. That night, Emma sat at her desk doing homework. Math. History. Reading. Normal 14-year-old stuff. But on her wall hung her soldier's medal. Given to military personnel for heroism. Next to it, a photograph taken 3 months ago. Her and her mother on the tarmac, holding each other, both crying, finally together after 3 years apart. Her phone buzzed. A text from a friend. Want to hang out this weekend? Emma texted back, can't. Flying lessons with my mom. Because some things were more important than hanging out. Like time with your mother who'd been dead to the world for 3 years. Like learning to fly for real instead of in simulators. Like building a normal relationship after years of encrypted communications. Those things were precious. Downstairs, Lisa was cooking dinner. Real cooking in a real kitchen in a real home where she could live openly. She heard Emma's footsteps. Need help? Emma called. Always, Lisa called back. They cooked together. Talked about Emma's day at school. Made plans for the weekend. Normal. Beautiful. Real. But underneath the normal was something extraordinary. They both knew that if crisis came again, if another emergency happened, they were ready. Because Phoenix had taught Emma more than how to fly. She'd taught her how to rise. And rising wasn't something you did just once. It was something you carried always. The ability to face fear. To handle crisis. To stay calm when everything went wrong. To save not just yourself but everyone depending on you. Those lessons would last forever. Outside, evening stars appeared in the darkening sky. Somewhere, aircraft were flying. Commercial jets carrying passengers. Military helicopters on missions. Small planes with students learning. And among them in spirit was Phoenix. Not dead. Not hiding. Not silent. Alive. Present. Rising. Through her daughter's courage. Through their shared bond. Through the lessons that love taught across impossible distances. Call sign Phoenix would never die. It would just keep rising. Mother to daughter. Pilot to pilot. Forever.